S1S. So she'll go through a whole series of manoeuvres as if she was competing, but in this case putting them together into a aerobatic display, a little bit longer and taking up quite a bit of sky, as you can see there, making the most of it, going through a whole range of different manoeuvres. And interestingly enough, it was a very famous lady who made the pits and aerobatic displays even more popular. Her name happened to be Betty Skelton, and her little pit she called the Little Stinker. And you can still see her little stinker from the 1940s. It hangs upside down in the outpost of the Smithsonian Museum at Dulles Airport in Washington, D.C. And if you're ever passing through there, I do recommend you take the kids to go to that particular museum. Holding it up high now, she's basically letting all the power decay and then just lets the aircraft drop through the sky. You can see it's actually a very small aircraft and winds it up at great rate of roll. Now, you can imagine that right now you are just weighing 1G, in other words, your own body weight, but as you pull through some of these tight turns, flicking whatever, the G actually varies enormously. If you're pulling hard, as she is at the moment, pulling over the top there, we're probably talking 3-4G maybe. She's spinning it in while she's rolling it, slow rolling it, I should say now, and enjoying that. But the G, of course, if you go upside down and then push against the aircraft, you get into negative territory. And when you do that, all the blood runs to your head. It's very, very uncomfortable feeling indeed. Now, of course, she's very much our local participant as well. She flew up from Bodmin this morning, and she's a Cornish lady herself. A big screen full of sea there as she dives out of that manoeuvre. Put in a 90-degree turn there, she's letting it decay, look here, she'll put in a boot of rudder now, and that's a classic stall turn, and she goes over the top with virtually zero speed, but quickly regaining that, and putting in another little twist out to sea. All this time, of course, bearing that G that I explained a moment ago. Now inverted again, she'll be hanging in a straps in the seat here, and all the blood rushing to her head, but keeping it perfectly level, all totally under control. Now, when she's not performing ballets like this in the sky, Colin actually runs a small business in Cornwall. It's a privilege and a pleasure, of course, to see them. They keep such an amazing set of stories going in our minds, and we'll be featuring very much largely next week in the D-Day 75th anniversary. If you look out now across the bay over to Torquay, you'll see Dakota in formation with a mighty Spitfire. Without doubt, one of the most successful aircraft designs in history. It became one of the world's most famous military transport aircraft and saw widespread use by the Allies during World War II and subsequently by air forces and civilian operators worldwide. rear of the formation. Spitfire Tango Echo 311, mark LF16E, and you can see 40 wing. Army Air Command specified a few changes. Of course, unsurprisingly, the whole thing took on. Fantastic machine. Got an incredible week ahead of us. Some 30, 35 competitors will, of course, make their way across the channel next week. They'll be passing the beachy head. I don't know, they'll reach and now taking center stage for the fabulous Spitfire. Produced in greater numbers than any other British combat aircraft before or since the war, an incredible 20,341 Spitfires were built in 22 different variants. The aircraft remained in production for 12 years. Prototype maiden flight actually took place in March 1936 as Mark I Spitfires entered Royal Air Force service with number 19 Squadron in August 1938. Potential of the original design allowed the Spitfire to establish and maintain the air superiority so vital to the defence of Britain. So keep pace with the improvements in performance of enemy fighters throughout the entire World War. Spitfire fought in every operational theatre of the war and remained in Royal Air Force frontline service right up until 1954. This particular aircraft was built in Cross-Point just after the war and was taken on charge in June 1945 by the Lewis number 39 maintenance unit at Cologne. 1945 to 46, it was led by Hawarden Squadron as the test pilots school at Hawarden before then being stored again and taken on to the ferry pilots training flight at Aston. Went through many hiccups, being damaged and then being repaired, and really set up this life relatively underutilized. And with that is the real transportation. After a remarkable rebuild period of 11 years, it was eventually returned to authentic standard and put in the air again for the first time at that stage in 58 years in October 2012. By the end of its production, it carried an engine producing more than twice the power of the original. Its maximum takeoff weight and rate of climb was more than doubled, and its firepower increased by a factor of 5, with its maximum speed increased by a third. All essentially in the same epic and iconic airframe that R.J. Mitchell and his team designed back in the mid-30s. fabulous DJ Martin. Yeah, testimony to brave and courage and tenacity of all the allies to recapture double the original specification, 28 fully equipped soldiers or parachutes. The whole crew's of course working very hard and giving up their weekends as well to entertain everybody. A terrific story indeed. And with other carriage down, it's going to give us another pass. The Dakota today is owned by Flight Attendant Seb Davey. He's northern lad, originally from Merseyside, but he studied down south aerospace systems engineering at the University of Southampton before graduating in 1998. Completed his mission officer training in 99. And now, actually, after a whole, you can imagine, extraordinary series of tours, he was involved with the C-130 detachments to Iraq and Afghanistan. And involved in the Pakistan earthquake. They go through a whole variety of experiences, and they now thoroughly enjoying himself given an opportunity to fly this because he's got one of the best jobs. It's the operations officer of the Battle of Britain Memorial Park. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're joined to the end of this display now. Please get them all a big wave when you, whatever you've got, hats, coats, umbrellas, ice creams. These guys flying around the weekend to make the most of your sunny Saturday afternoon here at the fabulous Torbay Airshow.
Aerobatic team, the Red Arrow! As Red One leads the aircraft over in big battle formation, he pulls up to the vertical, calling the aircraft into short diamond. Red One, the team leader, is Squadron Leader Martin Pert. Martin is a former Harrier and Typhoon pilot. He's also been a Hawk instructor, and this is his second year as Red One. On the right of Red One is Red 2, Flight Lieutenant Damon Green. Damo is a former Hawk pilot with 100 Squadron and Typhoon pilot, and he joins us from Coningsby. Well, Red One has called the aircraft into Apollo formation, it of course being the 50th anniversary of the Apollo moon landings. As Red One brings Apollo towards us, the smoke is about to come on, ready for the Apollo roll. Upside down at 3,500 feet, the distinctive bright red aircraft in this beautiful sky in Torbay. As Apollo Apollo moves into a right-hand turn. Red 1 is about to call them into another historic shape. I've mentioned it already today, but the first flight of Concorde was 50 years ago this year, shortly after the Apollo moon landings. Concorde go, calls Red 1. The smoke comes on the outside of the formation as the aircraft slip forward, forming the iconic shape. Going full, calls Red 1. As the aircraft comes towards us, you'll see the iconic shape of Concorde, looking as if it's on final approach to Heathrow with engines underneath, the nose lights pointing towards us. He's about to pull up into the Concorde loop. And pulling up, calls Red 1, the aircraft pulling to the vertical in Concorde. He's about to call them into Cygnet as they transition in the middle of the loop. 8 and 9 moving to the outside as they complete the Cygnet maneuver over the top of the loop, 6,000 feet above us. Of Cygnet is Red 4, another of our new pilots this year, Flight Lieutenant Gregor Ogston. Gregor has previously flown the Harrier and the Typhoon, and he joins the team having been an instructor at Valley on the new version of the Hawk T2. It's non-stop action as Red 1 calls the aircraft from Cygnet into Phoenix. Phoenix, a very hard formation for the pilots to fly with 6 aircraft in line abreast. And we're about to have the colour on for the the Phoenix pass. So the left of Red 1 in Phoenix is Squadron Leader Mike Bowden. Mike returns to the team this year while David Simmons recovers from injury. Many of you remember that Mike Bowden was on the team last year. In fact, he's done 4 display seasons and was in the process of leaving the Royal Air Force to join TUI Airlines. And they've graciously allowed him to come back for 1 more year before rejoining them next year. Before the Lancaster roll. On the left wing of Lancaster is Squadron Leader Steve Morris. Steve has previously been on the Red Arrows. He's a previous Harrier and Tornado pilot and has also instructed at Valley. Steve last left the team in 2016 and will be with us for 2 years. Now, if many of you think that rolling Lancaster is very unrealistic, well, the famous test pilot Alex Henshaw reputedly rolled the Lancasters several times during his time testing them at Castle Bromwich. 9 as 8 and 9 put the coloured smoke on and roll around the smoke trail of the rest of the formation. Red 1 about to bend the shape to the left with a smoke colour change. Here it is, it's Tornado. So far we've had all 9 aircraft in close formation, making historic and well-known shapes across the sky. Time for the palm split. Red 6 and 7 staying low with the red and blue smoke on. The remainder of the aircraft forming a beautiful palm tree above us here in Torbay. Chasing red 6 on the team, and he's followed by red 8. On the left, red 7 and red 9. This is the Chippo Pass. Reds 8 and 9 pulling to the straight down the middle in the Goose. Red 9 pulling to the vertical is Flight Lieutenant Dan Lowe's. Dan is a former Typhoon pilot and weapons instructor, and he's in his third and final year on the team. Red 1 leads Enid off to the left-hand side with the coloured smoke changing to white. It's time to look straight ahead. Red 6 and 7 pulling up in formation. The white smoke about to come on. The white smoke on as red 6 and 7 pull away from each other. Red 8 has pulled up to the vertical. He's coming down from the right-hand side, about to make the spear. And today's heart is dedicated by Red 9 for Susan and Michael Lowe's in celebration of their 40th wedding anniversary tomorrow. Red 8 spearing the heart is Flight Lieutenant Christian Smith from the left and the right. Red 6 on the right is rolling inverted. Red 7 the right way round. They're about to cross and switch in the vice versa. As Synchro turn their smoke off and pitch crowd rear, look to the front and the left. Here come the Red 1 rolling the aircraft to the right. They're about to pull over on their back. The white smoke flowing. Get those cameras ready. Get them zoomed out. It's time for the vertical break. Changing smoke colour as they go. It's time for the carousel. The red and blue smoke comes on. Red 6 and 7 pulling 6G, fighting the G-forces round the back of the circle. Watch for their smoke colour changing to form a red and a blue half. There they cross, coming back towards us. Fighting those G-forces, finishing the manoeuvre at datum in the carousel. Pull up, ready to roll into the Python. Each aircraft has 5 minutes of white smoke and 1 minute of red, 1 minute of blue, and red 1 and red 6 choreographing the smoke throughout the display. And as we see Python, I'd like to make a special mention to Charlotte, who was at the Red Arrows tent earlier, and also to the Fisher family. Red 1's very metronomic tone as he talks to the other aircraft through the manoeuvres. The pilot's reacting to his voice rather than his aircraft movement, making sure the formations keep straight and accurate. Will roll around them. It's time for the corkscrew. Here they come, Reds 8 and 9 with the red and blue smoke rolling around the tail of 6 and 7. Complete calls Red 9 as the aircraft roll out in escort formation to make... Keep those eyes peeled to the left, the smoke is about to come on. Red 1 will give the command and Reds 2 and 3 will roll from the inside to the outside, changing smoke colour as they go in the rollbacks. Clear go, call 2 and 3, the signal for 4 and 5 to roll. Red and blue smoke arcing across the sky, Red 6 and 7 staying low with the red and blue on as they prepare for the last of their opposition manoeuvres. On the left hand side we have Red 7, Flight Lieutenant John Bond. Bondy is a former Tucano instructor who displayed the aircraft back in 2012. He is then a Typhoon pilot and is in his second year on the team. He will become Red 6, the synchro leader, next year. In from the left and the right, the synchro pair, about to perform the double rolls. Red 6 and 7 changing smoke colour halfway through, ready for the fix and break. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching the Red Arrows! And here they go, ladies and gentlemen, the 2019 Chinook display. Pitching back down now, give the crew a wave before they make their 90-degree breakaway to our left. This year the Chinook display captain is squadron leader John Turner, known as JT. JT joined the RAF in 1993 and was posted to RAF Odium to fly the Chinooks in 1998. He's flown on operations in Bosnia, Sierra Leone, Iraq and Afghanistan, and most recently in the Caribbean in 2017 undertaking hurricane relief support. As the aircraft moves away to our left, watch as the nose pitches up by 45 degrees and completes a pedal turn to the left. This is a difficult point for JT as he's unable to see the ground from the front, so he's scanning rapidly sideways to ensure he's got the correct pitch in the climb whilst keeping the wings level. As he runs in now, the nose is going to be pulled up by 45 degrees for another nose over before recovering at the display base level. An especially warm welcome to Jeff and Carol, also JT's parents, who join us in the crowd today. Joining JT in the cockpit is the 2019 display co-pilot, Flight Lieutenant Aaron Kerry. Aaron joined the Royal Air Force in 2008 and subsequently completed his rotary flying training. Joined the Chinook Force in 2015, he's seen operations in the Middle East and more recently returned from Op Newcomb in support of our French allies in Mali this past April. So you've now just seen the aircraft pull up by 30 degrees in its offset right-hand wing over. JT's looking down now,
moving his head, trying to pick up the display line again before descending to height, capturing the correct airspeed and running back in. So those of you at this end, listen close in. This waka waka sound is synonymous with Chinook and leads to our popular Twitter hashtag, #BladeSlap. Shortly, the Chinook's going to break away to perform a 60-degree offset wingover away from crowd centre. Flown by the RAF, the Chinook is actually operated under the Tri-Service Joint Helicopter Command. It remains in high demand due to its large cabin, capable of carrying up to 40 fully equipped troops. Also carrying vehicles, freight and palletised cargo both inside and outside of the aircraft, though perhaps we're best known for the medical emergency response, a role which the force fulfilled under fire during Op Herrick in Afghanistan. Well, that's the aircraft now pulling up to conduct a 30-degree wingover. Another challenging manoeuvre at that end, with the co-pilot Aaron not only calling out JT's pitch angles, roll angles, heights and speeds, but also glancing out at the left-hand side of the cockpit to talk him round until he's able to see the display line again. And with that done, the crew are now repositioning for their crowd centre nose over. So it's time to get your cameras ready if you want to catch a Chinook at 45 degrees nose up. The display you see today really demonstrates how manoeuvrable this extremely large helicopter is. Most of the display is born out of tactical skills employed and perfected on operations around the world. During all of these manoeuvres, the co-pilot's eyes are constantly darting around the cockpit. He's checking aircraft performance, monitoring the aircraft speeds, pitch and roll parameters, and all of the heights. 7 years. As you can imagine, this is recently in Iraq, Afghanistan and now Mali. Its heavy lift capacity combined with power, speed and agility ensure that even during those hottest summers and darkest nights, the force always completes its missions. And the crew are shortly going to whip the aircraft around into a low-level 360-degree orbit, giving you the chance to really hear that sound of the aircraft. Look out in front at that top side view. The photographers amongst you will get a great angle of this awesome machine and its unique contra-rotating blade design. Operationally, the ship has a 4-person crew, 2 pilots in the cockpit and 2 weapons systems operators or crewmen in the cabin. So here's the aircraft running left now. You'll shortly notice the nose coming up to decelerate through 85 knots. And as he does this, he'll enter the 180-degree nose-down quick stop. This manoeuvre allows us to stop the aircraft in a very tight area if troops are spotted late on the battlefield. So now JT's going to rotate the tail away from all of you and begin a 270-degree pirouette to point it back at you, all the while beginning his transition into a sideways taxi along the crowd line. You just see this ramp starting to be lowered, and you should be able to make out our crewman for today taking up position upon it. This is your moment now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as we're going to ask you to show your appreciation to the display team as they give you a wave with a big orange hand. And in the cabin today is Sergeant James Begg, known as Beggsy. Beggsy joined the RAF in 2009 as a weapons systems operator. On completion of his specialist training, he joined 18 Squadron. He's deployed on operations to both Afghanistan and more recently to Mali and has around 1,100 hours on the Chinook. Feel the sound of the Chinook. The crew are now going to complete another wingover out to the left, with the co-pilot working hard to get JT back onto the correct line. Now, over land, we would then normally look to land the aircraft back on just 2 of its 6 wheels, but looking at the surface in front of you, you may notice a slight issue with that. Supporting display aircraft this year, we have a team of exceptional engineers, fresh back from operations in Mali, led by Chief Technician Lee Edgerton. Lee joined the RAF in 1990 and has worked on Phantoms, Tornadoes and Pumas. Although he's been involved on the Chinook Force since 1997, we simply wouldn't have a display without him and his team of hard-working engineers. We adapt our oval display to fly a flat 270-degree turn to re-attack crowd centre. You'll get one final experience of that powerful blade slap now as the roll rate increases. Those huge 30-foot blades bite the air and the crews stop hard using the nose down quick stop technique to capture the hover over the display datum. I'd like to mention all of those at Aviation, home to 2,200 personnel of all trades, including air traffickers, engineers, armourers, logisticians, caterers, medical staff, amongst so many others. All of them are so dedicated to supporting our global and national commitments. Aviation and the Chinook Force are all about teamwork, and we remain ready to respond to national and global events at a moment's notice, with personnel and aircraft on permanent readiness 365 days of the year. There we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, there's the crew come to hover one final time and show them your appreciation as they perform their final over-the-shoulder departure, hauling our 15-ton machine backwards.
Comes from the boat, it signals the wind direction and strength, and this is our first person that is looking that stationary set-up point. The set-up point is where we start to think how are we going to land and what direction we need to take. As you see, he's judging the wind and he's seeing where it's best time to come in. As you see, ladies and gentlemen, we've also got behind, we've got our regimental flag in tow, and we've also got our other jumpers coming in. And there we go, spiring in. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first person. This is our Team OC, Captain Ian Wicks. Please give him a round of applause as he starts season fun. He proudly wears our Tigers FFT canopy. Ladies and gentlemen, is he going to get towards the centre? What do we think? He's going, he's going. And he reaches the road. She's coming in. Ladies and gentlemen, please give him a round of applause as he comes in. As he judges the wind as he gets there. If you look up the sky now, ladies and gentlemen, you can see our fourth jumper from the 314, predicting where they're going to go. This is Corporal Nathan May as he comes in. Actually, he has a blue canopy, ladies and gentlemen. Our canopies are ram air canopies, which means that they suck as much air in as possible to enable to keep them afloat. As he sits there, he's adjusting his position, taking into account the different wind direction and speeds and which direction they will land. As he comes in for his final pattern, please, ladies and gentlemen, give him a massive cheer and a round of applause. What do we think, ladies and gentlemen? Do we think he's going to get the centre? As he comes in on his final approach. And he's in the water, ladies and gentlemen, nice and wet. Private Chris Gray, as he lets go of the smoke that is trailing behind him. They are just adjusting the wind, getting into position and ready to do what they do best. And there is the Union Jack flag, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an incredibly hard manoeuvre where they are actually spiralling in two. What happens here is the bottom man gets more swing and as he gets thrown across. This is where our team training really kicks in. And we learn to harness and do subtle movements to make it as best as we can. Ladies and gentlemen, please give them a big cheer. Believe it or not, they can hear you from there. We are trained to use many things, ladies and gentlemen, smoke, flags, as well as what we do with canopy work. As you can see now, they have decided to do a setup. They're at their point, they're thinking, can they go? Watch closely, ladies and gentlemen, you do not want to miss this as they come in. Give him a wave, ladies and gentlemen, he's giving everyone a wave. Ladies and gentlemen, please give him as big cheer as possible as you can, as Corporal Frank Millick and Private Chris Gay come into landing. Ladies and gentlemen, that is otherwise known as a two-stack landing, where he just lets the bottom person go just in time to land into the water.
Royal Air Force Base, Linton on News. Please welcome Matt Nightingale.
Good afternoon, Torbay. My name is Lieutenant Matt Nightingale, and I'm this year's Tucano Display Team Manager. The team are delighted to display here for you today, and over the next few minutes, I'll be talking you through the display sequence and sharing a few facts with you about this year's display pilot, Flight Lieutenant Liam Matthews. That distinct noise you heard when Liam first passed through is the uprated Garrett TPE turboprop engine fitted to the Royal Air Force Tucano by Shorts in Belfast. This particular engine boasts more power than the original Tucano design. Liam now returning back towards crowd centre. He's going to roll that aeroplane around 720 degrees in his 5-point roll. This year's Tucano display is supported by Babcock International Group, who provide engineering and ground support to the Royal Air Force Tucano fleet at its home in RAF Linton on Ouse in Yorkshire. And the team's thanks go out to them for helping us to make this display possible. As Liam returns back to crowd centre, he's going to pull up for the start of a loop where he'll peak upside down at a height of 2,300 feet. Positions to run away from the crowd, I'll just tell you a little bit more about the display pilot himself. Liam Matthews is known as a skimmy QFI at Linton on Ouse, meaning he demonstrated above average ability during his flying training and was selected at an early stage of his career to become a flight instructor. Now he's nodding to the left and to the right for his noddy stall turn. Back round to the left as he dives down to gain some energy for his next manoeuvre, pointing back at the crowd. This is Liam's first season as a display pilot and the Tucano's final year as a display aircraft, so a very momentous year for 72 Squadron. The team would like to thank a few companies for their support this year to making the Tucano display possible. A special thanks go out to Breitling, Mountain Equipment and Osprey Europe. Both the display pilot and myself this year were students training on the aircraft less than 2 years ago. For the younger members of the audience, we remember watching our very first air shows. We were not long ago in your shoes, and you could very soon be in ours. As Liam positions back towards you, he's pushing the aircraft onto its side and pushing around the sky in an outside turn. During this manoeuvre, Liam is being forced out of his seat by a force equal to twice his own body weight. The Royal Air Force Tucano, now the end of its service, has served 30 years with the #1 flying training school, the oldest military flying training school in the world. As it finishes its final year of service, the Texan T1 aircraft is working up to replace the Tucano as part of the new UK military flying training system and will fly out of RAF Valley in North Wales. Demonstrating a high level of handling skill, Liam will now complete a slow roll as he passes back in front of the crowd. This is one of many manoeuvres taught to all students as they progress through basic fast jet flying training. This teaches young aviators the handling skills required to appreciate the complexities involved when dynamically flying an aircraft. The aircraft to fly a maximum performance turn, pulling 4.5 G. As he passes back in front of the crowd, he'll pull on the stick and reach 4.5 G, and he'll be pushed into the seat with a force of nearly half a ton. This is another example of a manoeuvre taught to all students at BFJT, allowing them to appreciate how to fly an aircraft to its maximum performance. He's going to position to perform a favourite manoeuvre of Tucano display pilots, the hanging stall turn. As he pulls up in front of the crowd, if you watch the aircraft, it'll appear to hang in mid-air in front of the crowd, at a height of about 2,500 feet. Liam will then recover the aircraft and dive to gain some speed for his next manoeuvre. Ladies and gentlemen, keep your cameras panned on the aircraft. This is a perfect opportunity to get some photographs of the aircraft in a very unusual position. Liam joined the Royal Air Force directly from university, and I joined the Royal Navy after my A-level studies. Now, fairly early in both our military careers, at the ages of 27 and 24, we have the opportunity to operate as a display team here today. Here he goes, dipping the wing, looking out over the left-hand side. He'll be looking for your wave. Give him a big wave and a big hand. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's been a pleasure to talk to you today, and I hope you've enjoyed watching the display as much as Liam has enjoyed flying it for you. We hope you enjoy the rest.
He's joining low level and fast before rapidly climbing the aircraft to height and hover in front of you. Here he goes. Please welcome the Royal Navy Helicopter Display Team, the Black Cats. Converting the energy to height, Chris went from 100 feet and 130 knots to 600 feet and no knots in a matter of seconds to imitate coming in under the radar and climbing briefly to scan the battle space before nosing over the aircraft and returning below the height at which he could be spotted. Now conducting a series of wing overs to show you how the rapid turn and direction the helicopter is capable of, and another climb to height, at this time with a 360-degree descending turn to the hover. To watch this fantastic display. There he goes, tipping his rotor disc to show you. And now he's going to max rate climb from the hover before exchanging height for speed and out for a wing over. I'd like to take the opportunity to mention our friends, the South Atlantic Medal Association 82, who support those who fought in the Battle of the Falklands. On the left-hand seat, probably very ill. There he goes, the wing waggle completes the display for the Royal Navy Helicopter Display Team 2019, the Black Cats. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give them a warm applause. The Strikemaster.
It's great to see what is now very much a vintage jet on the market. This is pretty interesting one though. It's got quite a backstory. For some of you it may look a little bit like a jet provost. It comes out of that same family, and of course the JP countless joined, trained thousands and thousands of pilots. It was in service with the Royal Air Force from 1955 right through to 1993. Export success as well, and that's part of where the story comes in with this aircraft, because this particular aircraft is really, well, it's essentially a Mark 82, but it's got an amazing backstory from its years in the Oman Air Force, and that is where Mark actually got it from. Now, the Strikemaster itself is a combat derivative of the JP Mark V, so you can imagine quite a long development phase before we get to this particular one. And this was successfully flown in combat in many, many areas around the world, but it's particularly in the Oman-Yemeni wars. It's a very tough aircraft, very robust. It's got an armoured cockpit, single, and as you'll notice, noticeably noisy Viper engine with manual flying controls. And it was imported from Oman by Mark in 2004, retaining now this beautiful and immaculate grey training colour scheme from its serving. It's actually one of the youngest Strikemasters ever produced, and now in around about its 32nd, 33rd year of life. Mark himself, an ex-Royal Air Force fast jet pilot, flies a variety of BA aircraft, and thoroughly enjoying himself there on the 777 and 87. But in the Air Force, he flew the Chipmunk, the JP, the Hawk, the Phantom, the Tornado, F3 as well, and has co-owned and displayed this aircraft since 2004. He's a super chap. If you bump into him, you'll notice a slight Canadian lilt. That's where he was born. He moved here and has lived in North Wales for the last 20 years or so. Now, the development phase I mentioned was very lengthy. From the early 50s, the first prototype of the JP flew in June 1954, redesigned, re-spec'd by the Royal Air Force, structural changes, undercarriage changes, new engine, bringing it up to the Viper series, and eventually into the Mark V, and then the T-51, the export version of the Mark V, sold to Ceylon, now Sri Lanka, of course, Kuwait and Sudan, armed with two 7.7mm 303-inch machine guns, and went on to Iraq, South Yemen, Sudan and Venezuela. But the interesting story was that the final version was due to be sold to Sudan, meanwhile the Omanis needed a replacement aircraft, and as a result of an arms embargo, the Sudanese didn't actually get their aircraft, and one of them was basically restored and put back into service to replace a broken one in Oman, and that was 425, known and seen here today as the last of the many. And it is a testimony to Mark's tenacity, really, that this one is still with us. Showing off all the angles of this beautiful aircraft, but being a little underpowered and not being of the agility of modern design jet aircraft with swept wings, it uses up a bit more airspace, but nonetheless a delight and a pleasure to watch. The aircraft was originally taken out taken up by road to its current base, the services base, the maintenance facility that Mark himself also runs at Hawarden, and following restoration was returned to the air. That was was the last pass from Mark in just repositioning, you see there, in a really high arc. And it's a pleasure. He'd be really delighted to show this aircraft off to you today with such beautiful circumstances again. So repositioning now for the last pass. Good opportunity to give them a good wave, whatever you've got. Hats, coats, you know the score, ice creams, all the pilots working hard to entertain you. This is Mark Petrie and the Strikemaster.
For our first manoeuvre, the box loop. This season we're running a competition to fly with Blade 3 Michaeling. All you have to do is send in your photos for our display to either Twitter, Facebook or Instagram, or via email at info@theblades.com. And this is a perfect photo opportunity as the team pull up into the vertical here. Blades 2 and 3 are going to perform opposition stall turns. Blades 1 and 4 are going to perform pushovers. This is the visually spectacular Falling Angels. And now as the team head directly towards the crowd for our first high G manoeuvre, the pilots are going to be pulling up to 8G here. This is our first break of the display, so get your cameras ready for the iconic crossfire break. And now if we stick the aircraft on the left side, right, this is Mike. And as they pull up into the vertical, they're going to let the speed lead off and let gravity take control as they fall backwards. But they have requested that every single person here cheer as loudly as you possibly can when the engines go quiet. 3, 2, 1. Oh, I think we can do better than that, Torbay. And now if we stick with James McMillan, Blade 4, for his first solo routine. James joined us last year in Blade 2 position, and this year moving into the Blade 4 slot. His aircraft has a slightly bigger engine, which enables him to perform these more aggressive aerobatic manoeuvres. And he's really demonstrating here what the extra 300 can do. And he's about to perform his favourite manoeuvre, the Blade slide, as he pulls up. He's going to jam the aircraft sideways. There we go. James is actually a New Zealand native, and he was the youngest ever fast jet pilot for the New Zealand Air Force, qualifying at just the age of 20. It's an absolute pleasure to have James on board for his second year. As all our pilots, he's an ex-Red Arrow. He's also an ex-Harrier and Typhoon pilot. And he's going to form a torque roll for you now, as he falls backwards through his own smoke. And as James finishes up there, eyes to the left now, as we see Blades 1, 2 and 3 approaching. And they're going to perform a manoeuvre that we've been doing since 2005 when the Blades formed. 3 hammering hard on the rudder to fly sideways. This is crazy. And we'll see James there at the back corkscrewing around Blades 1, 2 and 3 smoke. Like I said, please do send in your photos to our social channels or info@theblades.com for a chance to win a flight with Mike Ling. You can sit in the front of his extra 300. And his next manoeuvre, as the team pull up into a half loop, it's actually dedicated to our title sponsor. Get your cameras ready for a wonderful photo opportunity of the underneath of the aircraft. They pull up and come back down for the Aerobatic box bend. astounding. They practice 3 times a day out based in Sywell Aerodrome in Northamptonshire to make this display as perfect as it is today for you. And just in case you missed that photo opportunity to see the underneath of the aircraft, Andy has called them into tango formation, so get your cameras ready as they come back round for the tango bend. Join up with the rest of them, line abreast formation, and they're going to pull up into the vertical and all perform tight stall turns to our left. And this has become a signature manoeuvre for us. This is the blades hammerhead. And now the team will be called into line astern formation, one behind the other. We've been doing this manoeuvre for a number of years, but we've changed the angle of attack today, so it's going to look a little bit different for those people with cameras. And as they pull up into the vertical, each aircraft is going to slide out to the left. This is the blade snake. On the cloud base, we have a full, a rolling and a flat, and today we have the luxury of the full display because it's absolutely stunning weather here in Torbay. And now if we look to our left, we'll see all 4 approaching, and they're going to demonstrate the roll capability of the Extra 300 and perform synchronized aileron rolls. They'll be extremely happy with how they've just gone. And they fly 370 kilometers per hour through pylons at just 25 feet above the ground. It truly is a spectacle. And you can watch that on Free Sports UK or catch the highlights on BT Sport. And now the team are going to pull up and perform a quarter clover, ready for our second break of the display. So get your cameras ready as they come back down for the trident splits. And now if we stick with the 2 aircraft that are together, they're going to pull up and perform the harp, so definitely get your cameras ready for this one. And this is dedicated to our charity partner, the RAF Benevolent Fund. Last year, the RAF Benevolent Fund helped over 51,000 people in the RAF and their families. They are a truly incredible charity, so please do check their website out. And let's see how the boys do here with the harp. And flying through the harp, we'll have blades 2 and 3, Mike and Kirsty. For their second pair's work, Kirsty's going to barrel roll around Mike, and they're going to perform a wonderful roll to split at the end of this one. That's also a new manoeuvre for this year. We've jazzed up the show at 350 miles per hour. This is a particular favourite for our passengers. I'm sure you can see why. And now if we look out to our 12 o'clock, we'll see blades 1 and 4. They have to be particularly high for this manoeuvre and knife edge spins. Explain this to me. He said if you put your hand on the ground and run around your arm whilst falling out of the air, that's pretty much what they're doing in the aircraft, but I'm pretty sure it's a little bit more technical than that. And now it's James McMillan's time for his second solo. Cooper. Gerald Cooper is the UK's most successful aerobatic pilot, and he's been teaching James and the rest of the team how to fly the Extra to its absolute extreme. And James here performing a slow roll for you across the crowd line. Make sure you get some photos of this one on this beautiful sunny day. Maneuver for the team to train. But it looks absolutely spectacular here with the smoke on. And this is the Revolver.
This year. Whether that's all linear, I'm not so sure about, but nonetheless, it's been a fantastic to see them coming in now at a great rate of knots. Please welcome Jim Peterson in the Typhoon. He's going to put it into a turn, and here he goes, and he's now going to push away from himself. Here he is, upside down, the blood is rushing to his head, the most uncomfortable part of this entire sequence, going from +9 to -3. And you may have just seen a bit of fuel vapor there venting from the top of the fin as he did that. As he comes out of this turn, he's going to slow the jet down now, and he'll put it into his slow and dirty approach with the nose held up high, the stick back into his stomach, and just showing you how unusual it is to fly this jet, this hugely powerful and capable jet at such slow speeds. He's now winding the EJ200 back up again now. He'll select full heat wings and show you the slow and dirty loop. With an excessive power, which you will see easily as he enters a tight climbing spiral. You can imagine the pressures on the body, let alone on the jet as well, but a tremendous amount of power still available to him. Keep your eyes bright, you might get in a quick wave here. You'll have to be fast. And there, pitching into the vertical and another 9G rocketing skyward, Jim performing aileron rolls in the climb to the highest airspace he can get. A zoom climb, and I'm pretty sure he's been cleared up to 10,000, if not more. He just loves every minute. I know he was looking forward to this today.